rate increases were voted. We are the second highest utility rate payers in this country. I think we're second to Hawaii. And it is one of the most egregious and expensive parts of living on Long Island and trying to make ends meet on Long Island. And as the supervisor, during 5 named storms where we relied on LIPA, tried to rely on LIPA to work with us to make sure that people got back up again, that trees were trimmed, that our substations knew who was out and who wasn't. And LIPA let us down time and time again. And we had reached out to this commission several times, asked them to come out and trim our trees, asked us to work with us on how we would map when outages happen. And LIPA let us down, and that was this group that should have been in charge and let us down.
Anna, this question is for you. Given the history of planned development districts, PDDs, as used in the town of Southampton, can you state your position on their efficacy and why were you opposed to a moratorium?
PDDs was something that I set about reforming when I was first elected, and making sure that PDDs, as the only remaining tool in being able to do better than what the underlying zoning did for us in several areas. But it lacked transparency. It lacked the ability for constituents to have input on any development projects that were proposed to the town. It lacked community benefits, as clearly stated, and it lacked a supermajority in how these projects got approved, all of which I changed and got the Republicans to work with me on this, kicking and screaming, I might add. In my time on the town board as supervisor, we denied 2 PDDs. That had never happened on a town board in Southampton before. And we approved 2 of them. 1, an affordable housing project. 2, a vital economic development and historic preservation project right here in Hampton Bays, where the canoe place in Matter stickers was on almost everyone's bumper. Those were the 2. And those were ones that the community wanted to see. And we put some logic into PDDs to make sure that we had a planning tool when the underlying zoning did not work the best it could for the community and its planning needs. Please.
Yeah, I think PDDs are a tool. And as chair of the Planning Commission for Suffolk County, we've seen developments from all across the county, from the East End all the way to Melville. Southampton certainly had more PDDs than all the other townships combined during my time there. But what matters, I think, is how you use that tool. And I think one of the concerns is, there's a lot of PDDs coming, and whether it's at Bridgehampton, whether it's the one in the hills at Quogue, East Quogue, et cetera. And I think that the bottom line is that I think the town board made a very sound decision to put a moratorium in place and to say this needs to be looked at. And that is something that the town will do now and figure out the right way to proceed, whether to keep the PDD developments as a tool or not. But at the end of the day, PDDs give town boards tremendous amount of discretion to be used for good or ill. It's up to the individual town boards to decide what is a community benefit. What you need, in the failure of the Southampton PDD, from my perspective, was a lack of a clear definition of what constituted that. And I think that's something that Southampton, hopefully will look at going forward.
Well, you must not be familiar with our PDD law then, because when we revamped it, we reached out to every hamlet and every civic and asked them to submit to us a list of what they considered to be community benefits that they wanted to see. And it's actually an addendum to the law, and one that everyone can look back at and see what they are. And we also made sure that we treated it as a living document where civics and CACs and other constituents could come to the town board and say, we want to update it. And that's how we rewrote that law. So it's actually very specific.
Yeah, I would just say, at the end of the day, it depends on how you implement that law, because it gives the town board tremendous discretion. And, everyone can judge the development projects for their own, whether they think good or ill of it. But at the end of the day, I think putting a pause makes sense, and I think the town board, is going to look at that now and figure out what makes sense going forward.
Thank you. I'm going to give both candidates 2 minutes for closing statements, and then we all have to leave because the library is going to close. So Dave, you want to go first?
What's that? Yeah, right. You'll beep on the way out if you don't. Look, thank you all for being here today. We have an important election on June 28th. We need to decide if we're going to send someone against Lee Zeldin who starts with an advantage of the Independence Party nomination or not, someone who's been involved in the Democratic Party throughout their life or not, someone who's been involved in fighting for progressive values throughout their time or not. And for me, I believe that I'm the right candidate. I have a background in helping to create real jobs here in this district and around the country. I have a background in fighting for the environment that we can take on Lee Zeldin with. And I have a background in fighting out against corporate fraud. I've been recognized by the Long Island Progressive Coalition for my work in fighting back against corporate abuses in our campaign finance system. And I'm proud to have the endorsement of virtually every Democratic elected official in this district. The ones who know me, who work with me, know that I will bring to Congress the progressive values that I fought for and worked for here on Long Island and the work I've done around the country, and bring that to our national leadership. I believe we need new voices. I believe the time has come for new faces, and I believe that we have an opportunity now to say no to the Tea Party agenda, to say no to Donald Trump and Lee Zeldin. But we only get to do that if we stand up for our values as progressives. And we need someone who has done that. And for me, that means standing up for environment, and I'm proud to have the endorsement of the Environmental Voters Forum. I'm proud to have the support of, as I said, all the Democratic elected officials, virtually all the Democratic elected officials currently in office in this district. I value their support because they know me and what I've done. This election, at the end of the day, is about the future. What kind of opportunity can we bring to the people of this district? What kind of jobs can we work to create? What kind of environment can we work to protect? When I think about my kids, my 3 kids, and the future that they are going to live here on Long Island, I remember that, hopefully they're in bed by now, but when they go to bed, they're not thinking about their future, their jobs, they're thinking about tomorrow. We need to be the ones thinking about all their tomorrows. They don't have lobbyists, they don't make campaign contributions. We need to be the ones thinking about their future and the future of all the kids here in Suffolk County. Thanks so much.
Excellent opportunity to take down Lee Zeldin, and we have to make that our absolute priority. And when I was asked to run for this seat, I was asked to run for this seat because I had won against Republicans in 4 elections, gotten elected by 60-40 margins because of the job I had done, and gotten results in government. And worked for people who needed to see a government working for them, holding the line on taxes, creating positive change, structural change, and a new voice in government that was breaking the gridlock and government as Southampton knew it in the past. My environmental record is simply not matched by anyone else, and I have been recognized for that by several. And I have gotten the endorsements then of people like Kirsten Gillibrand, people like Tom DiNapoli, people like Steve Israel, people like Tim Bishop, people like Joe Crowley, people that have worked hard and brought forward progressive agendas and see in me someone who did it on a local level, got it done, got elected and re-elected, and did not have a problem going up against Republicans, but also getting them to work with us. We talk about that Washington is broken. We need a voice, and we need someone who's actually broken through that gridlock on a local level and gotten the job done, and has represented families and job creation, environment, and a progressive agenda, and gotten it done in government, and gone up against Republicans time and time again to get it done, and done it without raising your taxes, and understands that what the needs of this region is.
Association, we'd like to thank you all for coming. We'd like to thank the candidates. And don't forget to vote.